Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video on 7.1.5. Today we'll be running Spite, Counterstrike and Tranquility. If you're not aware about the nodes, your opponent gets a passive power gain if you have a buff on you. With Counterstrike, if you dex more than 10 times, the defender becomes unblockable for 20 seconds. And Tranquility is all the buffs and debuffs from both champions, the defender and the attacker, are removed and resetting their power to 0 every 20 seconds. Now keeping that in mind, the only tough fight in this chapter is going to be the Guardian. There's quite a few counters we will discuss once the fight comes to it, and your boss is going to be a Punishing Angel. She's like a crossover between Punisher and Angela. She has a new node on her, Mercy, that we will discuss in detail once we get into the fight. I would suggest to bring in champions that do not have any buffs, so Red Guardian, Captain America Infinity War, Quake, Blade, Magneto. All of these champions will work really well. Before we jump into the path, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, leave a like, comment on the video. All of that really helps me out a lot. Now your first fight is going to be against a Guardian, and probably this is the toughest fight of the path. Now I'm gonna use a Magneto because Guardian is a metal champion and Magneto can reduce their ability accuracy by 85% by magnetizing them. Also, you will note that I have a shock debuff on me, and I also run willpower. Now Magneto is immune to shock, and with that constant willpower I am healing all the time. So Magneto is amazing for this. You just need to spam your L1s because you won't have time to build up to an L3 or an L2. And also notice that whenever Guardian uses his SP1, I block the first hit. Then when he jumps and swoops at me, I block the second hit, and only on the third hit I swipe back to avoid dexterity. Because if I dex a lot, then the Counter-Strike node is going to be triggered and he's going to become unblockable. So yeah, just keep that in mind and chip away at him. Some other champions that you can use are any champion with armor break or nullify will work amazing here, because Guardian is all about his defenses. So when he has that armor up, he has his defenses up and he can auto block your specials as well, or perfect block your specials also. So what you need to do is to bring in champions that can either nullify the armor up buff or they can armor break him. So champions like Captain Marvel movie version, or Doom, or Black Widow Clairvoyant will work really well here. You can use the new Cosmic Ghost Rider as well. Also Ghost works as well, but might be a little slow fight because of power resetting to 0, but still can be done. Now Quake is an interesting fight. You can use Quake by holding heavy and then parry him, so heavy and parry style. But then when you'll be holding heavy, that will reduce ability accuracy for Guardian, and you will having a shock debuff for the duration of the concussion. Now if you're running willpower, that might help you a little bit, but I've noticed that with Quake it's an easier fight, but you might have to use 1 or 2 revives depending on your skill level. So Quake is also viable here. Just be ready to use a couple of revives. All you need to do is to hold heavy and then parry him whenever he comes in, and not give him any power and not use any specials. Next fight is against the Gladiator Hulk. Now Gladiator Hulk is very simple to handle, it's not too difficult. You just need to bring a champion, preferably a skill champion. A 6-star would be amazing because you will get extra damage. So yeah, you can just bring in a skill champion and make sure that you don't dex much so he doesn't get spied and extra power. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you push him to an SP2, it's much better because it's easier to evade. If not, you can just keep swiping back until Tranquility comes into play and resets both of your powers to 0. And yeah, it's a pretty simple, straightforward fight. I've just used a blade and he will just bleed to death in front of me, and I will use my SP2 here and there and try to push him to SP2 as well. Next fight is a pretty annoying Magik if you don't have the right counter, because if you dex and she gets spied, she will gain power and she will gain 1 bar of power, 2 bar of power. So every time she gains a bar of power, she will give you limbo damage, and at this HP and at this rate, the limbo damage is a lot. So bring in champions that negate her and her ability accuracy, so she cannot use any limbo on you. So champions like Blade work amazing here. You can also use Quake and don't give her power at all. You can bring in Vision and power drain her, or you can use also Red Guardian. Gladiator Hulk will be amazing against her because anytime she uses anytime her limbo activates, Gladiator Hulk face me activates as well. So that's a good option as well. Another option is Human Torch. You can just parry and use heavies, and when she is near 1 bar of power, make sure you only hit during a parry with Petrify Mastery, so that will work out amazingly well. Also another champion that comes to mind is Archangel. Once you have those neurotoxin going on her, she does not trigger limbo at all. So there's quite a few options that you can use. The main thing is that do not dex and do not use champions that have a lot of buffs on yourself, to avoid giving Magik unnecessary power and limbo damage to death. Next up is Captain America Infinity War. Again, it's a very simple, straightforward fight. I'm going to use Blade again. I could also use Hitmonkey here, or any Bleed champion, or even a Quake. You just need to make sure that you don't push him to an L3 with the spite, and he will glance off a few hits of you. So it's better to use Bleed champions because you cannot glance off bleeds. And yeah, his SP1 and SP2 are very easily evadable. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Now next up we have Omega Red. Now with Omega Red, if you stay near him, he will put death spores on you. That will give you damage, and if you get to 10 death spores, they stick on you and they give you a lot of damage. So to avoid that, the best way is to either stay away from him or use any robot champions, because on robot it takes quite a lot of time to build up those death spores. That's how the champion works. So I would suggest a lot of tech class here. Now you can use Sentinel, you can use Ghost even, you can use Gilly 2099, and you can use Warlock as well. The whole thing is use champions that also have power control. So if you before 20 seconds, if he's about to reach SP3, so you can use your SP1 to drain the power. So like for example with Warlock you can use his SP1, with Gilly 2099 you can also use his power drain ability, same with Vision that I am using. So there's quite a few workarounds that you can use, and with the Nebula with her shock charges up, she will reduce ability accuracy from Omega Red as well. So there's quite a few options that you can use here. It's preferable to use a robot because that will make your life super easy, and most of the robots don't have build up buffs. If they do, like Warlock and like Gilly 2099, you can work around them with the node with SP1 power controls. And the final fight before the boss is going to be a very beefy Dormammu. Now for him I've brought in Human Torch. Dormammu incidentally is not incinerate immune, so I'm just gonna parry and heavy or parry into medium, light, medium once I have 20 temperature, and build up the smolder charges, as all attacks from Mystic Champions are considered to be energy ones, and that helps Human Torch build up smolder. So yeah, all you need to be careful about is her special one. So when you use the special one, block the first two hits and then dodge the third one. That's how you will avoid the dexterity charge on you, and also not getting any degen or giving spite or triggering Counterstrike. So once you have that down, it's a pretty simple straightforward fight. Just make sure to bring a tanky champion. Other champions that can work here are Blade, because Dormammu is a dimensional being, and apart from that Quake will work here, Captain America Infinity War, Red Guardian. Another champion that works really well here is going to be a Gladiator Hulk, because whenever you get a degen, that's a passive damage over time effect that in turn triggers his face me and gives him extra damage, and you do not get any damage from the degen. So these are quite a few options that you can use, guys. I hope these help. And finally, the boss fight is against a punishing angel that she has a new node that is called Mercy. So whenever you avoid an incoming attack with the dexterity, you get one charge of mercy on you. Those can be transferred to the opponent once you parry them, and they stay on one charge stays for 1.5 seconds, and the defender takes full damage if there is a mercy charge on her. If not, they take reduced 90% damage. So essentially bring in champions that need dexterity. So like Spider-Man Stark Enhanced, for him to build up those 10 poise charges you have to dex a lot. So that also builds up your mercy. Same goes with Invisible Woman, you have to do 15-20 dexes before she reaches her full potential. So she can work here as well. If not, you can also cheese her with Ronan. It might take a little time, but Ronan works as well because when she reaches SP2, she starts gaining prowess charges, and when she gets 10 prowess charges, her specials become unblockable. So you can have 1.5 bar of power, and you can stun her at 2 bars of special, and then you can stun her again, and by that time she has enough prowess charges for you to stun lock with Ronan. I am just bringing in Magneto because she's a metal champion. For Magneto it's simple, just build 40 magnetic charges and use your special, and she will bleed to death, and then you can rinse and repeat. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did guys, make sure to like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications so you are informed about the videos. All of that really helps me out a lot. And apart from that guys, I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.